Hey people, it's Steel Gamer here, and basically, as the title says, I'm playing some Diablo 3 hardcore and discussing forum idiots. And so, basically, to bring people up to speed, there's two forum idiots that I'm going to talk about. I'll be paying attention to the game while I'm playing. I know I've said that in previous videos, but I'm actually going to wind up playing the game this time while talking. So I'm going to try to do two things at once, but not sure if that's actually going to work. So we'll see. I'll probably wind up running around in circles while talking. So anyway, all right, so let me get right into it. The first forum is it's Turbo HUD, all right? Apparently, somebody took my screen name, TX3000, which is originally, used the name, and then posted something, I think either that I mentioned or it would be something like I mentioned, and then all of a sudden, they got accused of being me. Like, literally, somebody linked this current channel, the TL Gamer channel, or whatever it is, on in the forum. And how this was brought to my attention was, I guess, apparently the person that posted the link, or, posted the topic, wound up saying he said this in the thread. I went and read it, and I didn't go back and read anything beyond this. But apparently he says, I'm going to message TL Gamer and see what he has to say about this. Actually, he said something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing this as I don't remember it word for word. But apparently somebody says, hey, since you mentioned me as TL Gamer, or you blamed him or something being me, basically, since they referenced him being me, I'm going to message him on YouTube and see what he has to say about this. Alright, first of all, I don't really give a flying fuck about what is going on on Turbo HUD. I don't care. If somebody wants to think they're me, fine, go ahead. You're a fucking idiot, because everybody that knows my channel knows that if I post something, I say it was me. I don't fucking tell. There's no reason. So if I don't say something is me, it isn't me. So that's the first four fucking type of idiots, because they think they're too fucking thick-headed to understand, or they're trolling to grasp the simple concept that anybody can use anybody's screen name. This shit's all over the fucking Steam forum, and this is one of the main reasons I call people Steam users that pull this shit, because that's what Steam users do. That's the mentality of them. Oh, it's a screen name. It's got to be that person. And, I've discussed this many, many, many times. And so basically the point is that people that are familiar with my channel, not that I have to justify this, and I don't, because nothing I say is going to convince anybody anyway, because if somebody says they are me, then guess what? It doesn't matter what the fuck I say. I can prove it's not me, and they'll still say it's me. So this isn't about proving whether it's me or not, and I just don't give a shit. This is about, I just like discussing fucking idiots on the internet. And so, if you're too stupid to fucking understand the concept of somebody's screen name, you can't prove anybody is anybody. Just because a screen name was used. I can take anybody's fucking screen name and use it. Does that mean I'm them? No. Well, you post like them. What, because I'm using fucking Times New Roman font? Really? So, that's the stupidity level of this. But anyway, to make a long story short, what they were fucking arguing about, was instructions, okay? I don't even know how to begin to explain this, and I can usually explain shit, but I can't figure a way to fucking explain this in simple terms. So I'll do the best I can here. Okay, so what you have is, I guess apparently there was something to do with Turbo HUD not working, and somebody brought up the fact that I guess there's an IP address you can put into something and have it work, and then people say, no, that doesn't work, and it was just fucking retarded. Anyway, the point is that somebody came along, used my TX3000 screen name, and posted that the instructions don't work. Whether or not they worked, I don't think they meant that they didn't work, meaning, no, actually, I'm sorry, let me correct that. I had to go read that. So they said something along the lines of, somebody said, well, you said the instructions didn't work, and I guess apparently he said something along the lines of, or she said something along the lines of, they never said that they said the instructions didn't work. They said that didn't work. They said the way the instructions are written didn't work. And that's basically what I say shit like that all the time, because if you're going to say something, saying something about something is one thing. If you can't fucking read and you're too stupid to understand and separate the concept on something, saying something doesn't work and saying the way the instructions are written or causing it not to work are not the same thing. They're two completely different aspects and two different elements. But apparently people fucking on forums can't distinguish the two and can't separate them. So when somebody says, oh, the way the instructions written aren't work, that automatically translates into, oh, you said that they don't work. And that's just fucking people being stupid, because that's not what was said at all. Now, it may seem like I'm defending this, but I'm not. I'm actually explaining the whole... Yeah, I'm paraphrasing and summing up the base parts of the issue that I've been discussing about the freaking idiots on the forum, so people will understand what's going on, because I'm not going to add in all the excess bullshit that's been going on. So anyway, let me continue here. So anyway, apparently what happened is they were going into about this not working, and then it came down to the instructions are written piss poor. That's what I guess apparently TX3000 was writing. And that just sounds so weird when it says TX3000. That's one of my X-screen names. So it sounds weird when I say it about somebody else using it instead of myself. So anyway, apparently what the whole bottom line came down to is that the instructions were written shitty. Now, obviously, there's instructions. What piqued my interest on this was that, because I'm one for instructions. My whole channel is filled with it. So you can see why I'm making a comment about this. And so what happened is I read the instructions over, and whoever wrote that, whoever said TX3000 said the instructions weren't written properly, and they are correct. He or she is correct. They aren't written correctly. And if I showed you them, they literally make no sense. So apparently TX3000 tried pulling a type of stunt that I would do and rewrote them. And got to tell you, they did a pretty good job of doing it. I mean, I would have changed a few things here and there, but for the most part, they pretty much hit the nail right on the head. And so they rewrote the instructions and basically said, here are instructions everybody can follow. And then everyone, obviously, the people arguing with them, got on him about that, stating, hey, yeah, well, that's just unnecessary steps and everything else. And TX3000 turned around and said, he's basically saying the same shit. He's like trying to pull a stunt. He's basically trying to pull a stunt that I would say to people. And I wouldn't say it like that, because I'm just direct. I'll tell people to go fuck off. I mean, this is the way it's written. Deal with it. So what happened is, the issue was the instructions are not written correctly. The way the current instructions are written, only a small handful of people who can understand that type of gibberish. And it was total fucking gibberish the way it was done. And TX3000 pulled it apart and said, first you're saying this, then you're saying this, then you're saying this, and this doesn't even make any sense. And now step 4 is going into something completely. And it did. It went over all that shit, and it totally changed it. Now, whether or not that actually was going on, that's the way it was written. And this is an issue fucking people fail to understand. You can't write something in a manner only a small handful of people can understand it in, and then say, well, I had no problems understanding the instructions, and apply that across the board to everybody. It doesn't work like that. If the instructions are written piss poor, and only a certain number of people on the forum can handle them, and this is obviously Turbo HUD users, so they would be able to follow this. But that has no relevance to anything, because writing instructions, it's almost like whoever wrote the instructions knew it was going to cause questions just so they could answer questions. I was like, that's fucked up. So let me bring into something I actually found somewhere else. I forget where I read it, but apparently there's only one person in the entire forum that takes care of Turbo HUD after Diablo 3 has an update, and that is the maker of it. And somebody else on another site somewhere that I found somehow, that somebody linked something, so I went to that site and I was reading a shit, and I found where somebody wrote up that this programmer, they were a programmer, and they says, listen, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever that the only person on the entire site that can take care of Turbo HUD is the creator. It's inexcusable for the creator to not pass that information off on how to fix the program when a patch is updated onto somebody else, so they don't know. People don't have to wait for this person. And by the way, what I'm talking about now, is something else I'll be talking about that I was actually directly involved in on one of the Diablo 3 forums that revolves around the same exact issue. And that is basically what this person wrote. He goes, I'm a developer. So it's inexcusable for somebody to allow somebody to take over on a topic because he goes, he's the creator of it. Everybody knows that. So it's almost like he's afraid that nobody's going to give him credit anymore and he can't do anything because he wants to be in charge, and basically he wants everybody to go to him, and they have to wait for him because he wants to fucking feel important. That's basically what this person was saying, and it's true. So everybody has to wait for them, and then all anybody winds up doing is sometimes verbally attacking the people that are basically saying, hey, you know, what the hell's the deal here? Because if somebody else could actually take it over, they wouldn't have to wait. And they also went into something that I talk about a lot in a lot of my videos, is that people, he's like, don't give me this horse shit. He basically, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing this because this is pretty much what I'm going to paraphrase what he said through, you know, so you guys can understand it. He basically told everyone to go, who was basically saying, don't give me this fucking horse shit about it's free, or, you know, it is in his spare time, they did a favor for the community. He goes, no, it is absolutely the responsibility of the douchebag that fucking basically put it up to respond to the community if you're not going to allow somebody else to take it over, because you basically created a program and then you can't get out of updating it or whatever it is just because you want to be in charge or whatever it is. And that didn't make any sense, but basically he's saying people that friggin' if you're not going to, okay, he said if you're not gonna allow somebody to update it, it's inexcusable for you not to update it right away. It's inexcusable because it's your program, so therefore you have now created an obligation to the people that you did it to. And he says, this is where he started saying, you know, fuck off if you're going to say, well, this is free or it's in his spare time. That is inexcusable. I'm going to see if I can actually locate this because it's written really well. I mean, he didn't swear at anybody, but he's swearing at people, basically telling them, shut the fuck up with your lame-ass excuses about how it's free or they did it in their spare time. That is not anything you can even fucking remotely hide behind. And the reason I agree with that is because it's too often that these fucking douchebags create a program and then start, because it's a highly respected program and everybody uses it, what they do is they fucking hide behind that, and all anybody does is fucking defend them when they do stupid shit. Well, you know, they just made this free and you have no business talking. Like they're brown-nosing them. Fuck off. You created a program. It's your responsibility to absolutely make sure people know how to fucking use it. And this is the argument that I get into with fucking people. This is the argument people try to get into with me all the fucking time about video games. You're stupid, and they try to use gamer intuition to bypass the developer. It's never the developer's fault. Listen, fuckfaces. I actually found a really, really, really good way to explain this because I got a friend of mine who fucking doesn't seem to understand this concept. So I actually figured out a way to fix his ass. By creating I don't want to say I'm doing it on purpose, but the fact of the matter is, if I do what I'm going to do, he will then turn around and use every single argument I have ever made against me, but since he's using it, it's totally different for him. So the issue here is, fuck off. If somebody creates a fucking game, they are responsible to explain it. So it's one of these things where the maker of a program such as, you know, Turbo HUD, it's inexcusable for them to not allow somebody else to be able to update it. The fact that they are the only ones is them just trying to fucking get an ego. And it's almost like they're afraid to, you know, it's almost like they're afraid to fucking let somebody else do it because they want all the glory. This isn't about fucking glory. It's past the point now. Everybody knows who fucking made it. So why would you not allow somebody else to carry shit on? Because if all of a sudden this person decides to stop making it, now the community well, you know, there's people who literally on the forum, if you go read the Turbo HUD forum, they are literally saying, we don't play this game without it. If Turbo HUD didn't exist, I wouldn't play this game. So that basically means the person who created Turbo HUD, if they just decide to stop making it, that basically fucks over everybody else you basically created an obligation for. And that is absolutely true. So he, like I said, I'll see if I can, after this rift, I'm going to see if I can locate that topic. Because that topic, whoever wrote that did a fucking genius job with it. Let me finish this rift. So anyway, this brings me to the next point. I have on, that I was actually directly involved in, on, I was directly involved with, what do you call it? This particular next issue that I'm going to go over. And this was, there was a freaking topic. There's a few things involved here. So let me start off with the fucking most, the most idiotic one of them all. And this is, there's a fucking kid on the forum. Like, this kid's a fucking piece of work. All right, there's no, this is like, this kid. I'm really tempted to freaking show the freaking topic and show the kid's name. Simply because this kid is such a fucking piece of work that he's one of these people that constantly has to say something to be heard. And somebody finally wrote in one of the replies in a topic that I actually replied in. He started on me, and I basically told the kid just to fuck off. I've ignored him on the forum before, and then I told him, and when you can fucking behave, I'll remove you from ignore. So he started behaving. I removed him from ignore because I just fucking stopped paying attention to what he was replying to me. He would follow me into topics. This person is just one of these people that follows people into topics. They're not in the topic until I went in there. So the fact that they could have replied to this topic way before I even went in there, but they only did it after I went in there, and their reply is only directed towards me, means they're a fucking troll. That's what it comes down to. And that brings me to the point where they think they're the fucking forum police. And so they act just like the fucking kid on Turbo HUD. You know, the person on Turbo HUD created, he won't let anybody else do it. He wants to act like the fucking forum hero and feel important. So let me bring you up to speed on this, because this is something in general. This isn't even just on the friggin' Diablo 3 forum. This is something in general that fucking irks me to no fucking avail. Now, there are very few things that bother me, okay? There are very few things that bother me. But I'll be honest, what I'm about to describe really fucking irks me. I will literally tell people in a PM to fuck off. I will use that language against them. Now, people are like, oh, you shouldn't be being rude to these people. Fuck you. If you understood the situation, you wouldn't. That's the way it is. This is why I tell people all the time, if you're going to blame somebody for being me, I'm going to tell you it's me, so that way you can't fucking say anything, because everybody that knows my channel knows that if I post something, I say it's me. I don't hide. So that's where this fucking idiot comes in on, like, oh, you know, this person's you, and he links me. I'm like, a screen name doesn't make me me. What makes me me is I will tell you it's me, because I don't give a shit what fucking people say. That's why I make my channel, and that's either why you either hate me or you like me. People will subscribe to my channel because they fucking don't like me. Most of my subscribers are people that don't like me. They'll only subscribe to me to find out when I post a new video just so they can fucking rag on it, which comes with the territory of YouTube. So I tell people all the time, if you can't handle that, don't make videos on YouTube. It's that simple. But the thing with me is I just don't give a shit. I retaliate with videos. Everybody that knows my channel is fully aware of this. So I think either people just give up, or they just fucking know I'm not gonna. I don't really. It's not that I don't tolerate it. I just don't give a fuck. I'll say it how it is. If you're gonna misquote me, I'm gonna say you're fucking misquoting me, and here's what I actually said. Learn to fucking read. That's what I do to people. So anyway, this fucking kid's a piece of work, and so what is it? This fucking situation irks me to no fucking avail. And it's when douchebag people that make forums and run them purposely leave topics open or unlocked or in the public view, which allow them to be posted in. And then when somebody posts in them, regardless of how old the topic is, some jackass or the moderator or some jackass will post in the topic itself, or the moderator or administrator of the site will PM you, stop necroing old threads. Fuck off. Don't fucking leave it. If you, the reality is if you don't want topics posted in, then it's your obligation to lock the fucking topic or remove it from the public view, preventing that from happening. Now, this kid's debating with me about, well, the forum guidelines. I says, listen, asshat. I says, you have no, I says, the forum guidelines automatically don't apply when the fucking douchebags of the topic left it open for it to be replied in. So therefore, and this isn't just on the Diablo 3 forum, as I said. I've seen numerous forums do this. I've gotten banned from forums for telling the administrator to fuck off. Says, listen, asshole, don't fuck. He was derogatory toward me. Because here's the thing. Even though you can't determine how somebody's talking to you in text, any asshole that runs a site or any fucking douchebag that makes a comment about you making a comment in a thread that's old and so-called necroing it and then complaining about it is being derogatory toward you. It's an automatic derogatory statement, and they are being derogatory to you. Because if people have no business bitching and moaning that somebody posted in a topic that you fucking left open, the bottom line comes down to it. This proves what type of site it is. If you have a fucking amendment to the rules about not necroing threads while the thread has remained unlocked, then that proves it's a badly run forum, because that's purposely leaving open a way for them to start an argument with you. Because it is the sole responsibility of somebody who has the authority to lock the thread to do so. If people don't want somebody posting in a thread, then you lock it. End of discussion. To state, well, there's a forum guideline. Fuck off. You're starting. That is an instigation douchebag, because you don't even. And that's what I was talking about with it. That's what I was getting into it with this fucking kid, because this person, he's going at it. It's like, this kid's a fucking piece of work. These are the people I call Steam users. It's because they act like the fucking forum police, totally ignoring any and all aspects that the fucking site people, they're people that brown nose everybody and are act like the freaking savior of the forum by just having to say something to every single thing anybody says that they go against, because they're trying to gain favor and feel important, like the fucking asshole on Turbo HUD. And so, in case the people that are just tuning in, what I'm talking about is, apparently the douchebag that created Turbo HUD refuses to let anybody else be able to update Turbo HUD, because it's almost like they want all the fucking glory and they can't allow anybody else to have it. And so, basically, to make a long story short, there was something. I'm going to see if I can find it after I finish this rift. I said I was going to do the last rift, but I'm going to see if I can find it. What happens is that. Oh fuck! I almost died. Hold on one second. I gotta get rid of this shit. Give me a minute. I'm on hardcore, so if I die, I'm fucked. I have to go upstairs. My friggin' my thing just fucking triggered. I don't use the word proc because there's no such word. My friggin' awareness kicked off because I friggin' dragged the screen by accident. I almost friggin' died. I gotta wait 34 seconds. So while I'm doing this, let me see if I can dig up this topic, because basically this topic had somebody saying that they're a programmer, so it's inexcusable for somebody that created a program like Turbo HUD to be the only possible one in existence to fix it. And he was saying, don't give me this horse shit about. He didn't swear at people, but he's basically swearing at people, telling people if they want to try to cry about, well, it's free, it's their time. He's like, don't give me that fucking horse shit. I'm a programmer. When you create a program that only you know about and only you can fix, you've created an obligation to the player base that you're creating a program for that uses it. Because if somebody can't use Turbo HUD, there are people on the Turbo HUD forum that if you go read it, they will say, I will not play this game without it. I can't play this game without it, and so forth. So what happens is, if not that Turbo, I'm not justifying Turbo HUD or anything else, but I'm just saying in general, what it is this is about the fucking idiots who try to use the excuse of, well, it's free, and fuck off. And this is why my channel's filled with fucking instructional bitching, because it's like, I have a friend of mine who doesn't fucking understand this concept. He thinks, so I have a way to fix his ass with this. So what I'm gonna do is, next time anybody fucking tries to bitch about, instructions being in something, I got a friend of mine who plays board games. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fucking pull the same stunt he pulls with me on a board game. So what happens here is I'm going to put some stuff in front of him, and I'm going to say, okay, play this. And I'm not going to hand him the instructions. And what he's going to actually wind up doing, he's literally going to use the same arguments against me that I use against him. But since he's using them, it's going to be a different story because he's using them, and he's going to try to say it's different. And I'm like, no, it's not. So basically what winds up happening is I'm gonna throw a board game at him, and I'm going to put some shit in there he's never seen. I'm just going to put a dice in there. I'm going to put some pieces, and I'm going to put a board and a spinner. I'm not going to tell him anything. I'm just going to say, because I'm going to tell him, play the game. And what happens is, the reason I'm bringing that up is because he's like, well, if you don't know how to play, he basically blames a player for not knowing how to play something just because MMOs are MMOs, or a game is a game. You should know how to do that, and if it's not, don't play the game, it's your fault. He says he's not blaming the player, but yeah, he actually is, because he doesn't get the fucking concept that inside the game itself is required to be explained. It doesn't fucking matter if a million fucking games, if a million first-person shooters all use the space button to jump. That is fucking irrelevant. It's absolutely fucking irrelevant. Because here's the fucking deal. These fuckers need to, oh man, they need to fix this shit. Those fucking things are so retarded. At least my friggin' thing didn't trigger. So anyway, the point here is that he tries to say, well, you know, an MMO is an MMO. It's common sense and everything else. So I'm going to say, well, the fucking board game's a board game. You have a dice. You know how to roll it. You don't, what he'll do is he'll fucking argue that the instructions, he doesn't know how to move, or he doesn't know the concept of the game or anything else. Which is what he tries telling me. Which is the same arguments that I say, what I say to him when he, you know, I try telling him about, well, the game's explained, and he tries saying, well, no, all MMOs are the same. So the concept is exactly the fucking same. I know exactly what's going to happen. He'll use his arguments against me, but he won't allow, no, he'll use my arguments to defend his point, but he'll use his own arguments to try to dismiss mine, even though he's using my exact points to justify his argument. So it's ridiculous. So I figured out this whole freaking way of doing things. So my point, basically getting back to my point about, you know, instructions, it doesn't fucking matter if spacebar is jump in every fucking MMO, or if somebody's played MMOs before. That isn't fucking relevant. It doesn't give the developer the excuse to not say spacebar is jump. Well, you know, people trying to say, well, you know, it's just an MMO and you shouldn't be playing it. Fuck off. That is not your business to be doing. And so if people are going to try to use gamer intuition to justify shitty development, then that would apply across the board to fucking everything. It's not just one thing. It's everything. So people will cherry pick where they want their own arguments, but will get all fucked up and butthurt. I don't want to say butthurt, that's a fucking old phrase, but for lack of better terms, fucked up, because that's what they do. And this is again one of the reasons that people fucking hate my channel, because they can't stand the fact that I make these accurate comparisons, and I explain that you're doing the exact same thing you're telling others people not to do. It's amazing. It's amazing. So basically, what it comes down to is that this fucking kid that I was talking about, he's a fucking piece of work. Because what he basically said was about this is back to the forum issue. He started getting on me and acting like the fucking the forum hero, savior, or whatever it is. He's trying to act like the fucking forum police. And somebody actually wrote up, dude, stop fucking trolling to get your post count up. And so what he fails to understand is that I wrote to him, and I says, listen, it's not even fucking relevant that there's a, this is basically, hold on one second, I'm trying to do two things at once and I can't freaking talk here. So basically what I'm talking about is assholes that fucking run forums that leave topics open and then bitch about fucking people not throwing threads. He or she literally started on me saying, well, you know, the forum guidelines, and I was like, listen, this is a forum. Any topic, it's for discussing things. Any topic that's open is fair game. I said it is solely the responsibility of the owner of the site or the person who has the authority to lock it. If they don't, they have no right bitching. He's like, well, the forum guidelines. He's one of these fucking idiots that is either doing it on purpose to troll, or he literally doesn't fucking get certain concepts. Because I says, It doesn't matter what the forum guidelines is. Nobody's going to take it fucking serious when you have people doing this. I says, it's inexcusable if you don't want somebody to post in a topic to leave it fucking open. He doesn't understand. He doesn't even get that. So I says, if people are leaving this open, then there's only one reason that it's left open. And that is to leave a way for them to start a fucking problem. So that's how you can tell forums. That's how you can tell it's a bad forum, because they have stupid shit going on like that. And this is all things that people don't think to take notice to, because it's not something that you would normally take notice to. But this is what my channel does. I point out the stupidity level of fucking the way people run shit. They do things. They completely contradict themselves while trying to justify themselves. So this kid that I'm talking about is a fucking piece of work. He's a Steam user. That's what I call a Steam user. That is their mentality. They literally have something to say about every little thing, justifying whatever the fuck they said, totally ignoring basic constructed concepts, and then because they feel important, they get their friends or they create alternate accounts to boost their own ego. So people are like, oh, I agree with them. So for example, one of the topics that I'm going to be getting into with this in this discussion is actually on the Diablo 3 forum, where people are bitching and moaning about bots. I finally came out and I says, all anybody is doing is using the phrase or saying the phrase, bots are a problem, and never actually stating any actual problems. Because as it stands now, the only place the bots are not actually, the players using the bots are not the problem. The problem is actually the leaderboard, which people fucking are arguing again. This is just people arguing to argue. They're saying, I disagree with you, just for disagreeing with you and shit like that. But the problem is they're not disagreeing to disagree. They're just being stupid. And so there's a difference between, this kid's going to say something no matter what it is, I said, and since he's got his brigade following him, they're all going to agree with him, despite he hasn't actually disagreed with anything. He just says, I disagree with you. He hasn't structured any arguments. He hasn't countered anything I've posted. Not that this matters, because that doesn't even matter. You're talking about a forum. I'm just talking about people being stupid in general. So somebody saying that's a load of bullshit, saying a load of bullshit doesn't prove anything. Like, if you take a look at my videos about the math and Diablo 3 and everything else, I structure it out. There's nothing that you can say against it, because I literally have it on the screen. I have the math. I have everything else posted. So I don't just say something's wrong. I explain it. This is like people saying, oh, I don't like this game because the combat system sucks, and never actually specifying what about the combat system is broken. They're just saying it because other people say it, or they're just saying it because that's not an argument. That's not even a statement that's valid. Oh, it sucks. What about it? You don't like the way the guy holds the gun? I mean, so there's no actual validity here. It's just people saying, well, we proved you wrong with math. I didn't see anybody posting any videos. I didn't see anybody saying, well, the math works like this, this, and this. I've actually had to correct people and explain to them how the fucking math even works and gets applied here. I've actually done it. I've opened it up and I've done the problems. So the point here is that this is the mentality on the forum. So if you go on forums, just be aware of this shit. So let me continue here. So this kid's been following me around the forum, and again, it's not just me he's following around. He's following other people around because, I don't know, he finally likes me or something. I don't fucking know. But anyway, the point is that he has, obviously, again, something to say about no matter what it is anybody does. And so here's the issue with the let me try to figure out which topic it was, because I don't want to confuse two topics, so just give me a second. Right, so there was the issue about necroing the thread, but then there's something, because I don't want to say, I don't even know where to look it up now, but I don't want to say, somebody's doing one thing in a topic and not in another. All right, so give me a second here. All right, so oh, what the fuck was it, man? I'm going to have to look this up. Give me a second. I'm going to look this up right now. Because I want to make sure I'm getting all the information correct on this. Oh, it was bots. Okay, here we go. That's what I was talking about. Okay, so let me bring this topic up. Here we go. I'll actually do it now. I'll actually bring this up. So give me a second. Let me close out the game capture here. I'm gonna bring this up. Add browser capture. Copy. All right. Paste. Okay. Give me a second. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. This person was basically writing about botters and cheaters in non-season, and it's not just non-season. It's the issue here with you know, this shit. So let me see here. All right, I was trying to get this fucking cookie disclaimer off of the screen. I don't know why it's still on there, but whatever. You know what? I'm just gonna log in. Give me a second. I'm gonna log into this. I cannot. I can't. I can't get this fucking thing off of the screen. All right, hold on. Let me put browser capture in here again. See if I can actually get this done. All right, so let's try this now. Let's see here. Copy. I can't get it off of the fucking screen. That's hilarious. It won't go away. That's funny. All right. I can't get this off of the fucking screen. That's hilarious. All right. So anyway, so you know what? Maybe if I refresh this will go through. Anyway, all right. I can't get this off. I have no idea, man. It just won't even fucking remove from the screen. I've already done it, so it's not on mine. So let me try this here. All right. So let me let me first recap this. Actually, if I freaking go to the next page, will that freaking like this is? I don't understand why that's even still on the freaking screen. That should not even be on the screen right now. All right, so let me see here. Okay, so Let me try something here. Let me go to next. Huh. That's fucking weird. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Alright, that makes more sense now. Ah, no, fucking came back up again. That's annoying. I got an idea. I'm just going to close this and reopen it. Remove that. So let's try this. Oh, I know what I need to do. Alright, that explains a lot. Let me remove this. Alright, that explains a lot. Let me, I need to do, I need to do window capture. That's what I need to do. There we go. It would really help if I learned to friggin' learn how to use this better. Alright, so let me see here. Alright, so that works now. Okay, so let me put that into place. Alright, so now I can actually get on this here. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so basically, to make a long story short, to briefly recap what I was talking about, let me go in here and put this up. Okay, so basically somebody put this up, and then a bunch of people replied. Okay, so he's talking about GRs being wrecked. So here's the issue. I said, let's be real, people. Everyone knows that GRs are completely broken, which is true. Everyone has trouble against one or two enemy types, which is a reasonable expectation. Every class should have some problems. However, putting that aside, there's a difference between a rift being hard and just being totally broken and basically stupid because of sloppy RNG mechanics. So here are some things. Here are just some of the things that need to be fixed. Now, one of the things I talk about, since I'm discussing forum idiots, or people being idiots on forums, this is one of the things that people are being idiots on. Whenever there's a problem, at least on Diablo 3, and this is on pretty much any forum anyway, if somebody posts that there's some things wrong with a greater rift, all of a sudden the person's now, that turns into, oh, You just want it easy for yourself, and people are just fucking stupid. So no matter what you say, somebody's going to have something to say about it. So again, don't post on forums and don't make YouTube videos if you can't handle people just doing that, because that's what's going to wind up happening. So basically, I went through and did all this stuff. I wrote at least 31 things here. Now, this Meteor Blade is the fucking kid I'm talking about. This kid's a fucking piece of work, because if you notice, nowhere in here at all. Okay, so this kid posted 3 days ago. I posted 1 day ago. Okay, so you got to keep this in mind. Meteor Blade's name is nowhere to be found in this topic until I posted in it. And the topic reply, and the reply he made was directed at me and has nothing to do with the topic. A lot of people are talking about this topic. Meteor Blade is a fucking piece of work, because he comes in and he's like, forum guidelines, please read. Notice how he said he didn't come in and post this after this kid did it 3 days ago. He did it only after I posted it. Now his justification will be like, well, I didn't say anybody's name. He's directing that at me, because if he was going to post anything, he should have posted it against this kid here. So that proves he's following me around in topics. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. So anyway, he's like, don't bump threads. The act of posting simply turns a bumped thread to be considered spamming. This is also... So he's basically trying to be fucking police. And I said, listen. I basically told him. Now, I've had this kid on Ignore. I've had this person on Ignore before, and until he started behaving. So I took him off Ignore. It just, because he started... I told him, if you're going to... When you learn to behave, I'll fucking stop. I'll take you off and ignore. Till then, I'm not. Now, how would I know he's behaving? Because I would uncheck his ignore mark and see if he's replying to me. And if he was, I would just place him back on ignore and wouldn't reply to him. So he stopped replying to me at some point. Now, because I think it's because I told him I had him on ignore. So anyway, the point here is that I basically told him, of all the idiotic things you've posted, this one tops the list. And this is what I was talking about earlier in this. People have no fucking business leaving a topic open or unlocked in a forum and then complaining when somebody posts in them. How old the thread is not relevant. People have every right to post or reply in any topic on a forum that has been left open or unlocked, if it's something that pertains to a discussion. It's completely the responsibility of the site admin or the moderator to lock a topic or remove it from the public view if they don't want anyone replying in it. If they don't, then it's their fault. They have no business complaining, which is a base fact. Because again, this resorts back to this is how you can tell if a site's is going to be run well or not, because you have little game playing going on like this. Let's leave topics open, but we don't want people to reply in them. If we do, we're going to complain. What the fuck is this? I've walked into recess in 3rd grade. So now, again, Meteor Blade again comes back and says, you're entitled to your opinion. It's not an opinion. This kid's a fucking idiot because he doesn't get the simple concept. Forums are for discussing things. Any topic open can be replied to. Nobody's going to sit and bitch and moan about somebody replying in a topic after they left it open saying don't reply in it. That's fucking stupid, period. It's not an opinion. That's a base fact. Blizzard owns the forum guidelines, and I'm like, forum guidelines for not posting in something do not apply when a topic is left open or unlocked. If Blizzard doesn't want anything posted in, then they need to prevent that from happening. It's as simple as that. That's where this ends. You can't even go on any further. But again, Meteor Blade just has to say something. So this is a Steam user right here. I've always described Steam users, and I said it. This right here is a Steam user, because instead of understanding the concept going on, he's so hell-bent on forum policing everything that this is just fucking hilarious. Forum guidelines apply to all forum topics, whether you think so or not. I was like, I said, that's what you're going with? Okay. Let me clue you in on something. This is a forum for posting, which means any topic left open unlocked, it's fair game. No guideline changes that. Complaining people are posting in a topic that has been left open simply means that the person who has the authority to lock it and doesn't just means they're purposely being a stupid jackass playing childish games by purposely leaving a way to start a problem with the person who posts in it. Either lock the friggin' topic or quit bitching. I wrote bitching in that. Now he's going to write back. Now I'm going to reply to him. Now, he'll have something to say to this, but here's the thing. He's arguing this and says, company doesn't have a rule. It's not, I'm going to write, it's not a rule if what is written totally contradicts what is allowed. Actually, no, it cannot be a rule. I got to write completely contradicts. All right, open or unlock topic. See, here's the thing. He's not going to get the concept where a guideline that says don't post in old threads is saying don't post in any thread. You can't apply it. You can't have this both ways. So anyway, that's the deal. So guidelines that say it's open or unlock topic equals posting is perfectly okay. Guideline says don't post in topics. No one can post anything no matter what anywhere on the forum. There we go. So anyway, what's going to happen is he will ignore that. He'll take this one thing and change what it says. But in reality, it's saying don't post in topics. You can't leave it. You can't cherry pick where you want that. Well, you can, but you're just causing problems. This is causing a problem, period. So I'm not even gonna, like, there's nothing really left to reply to this kid on that. So let me go back to the botters and cheaters in this and explain what the fuck is going on with this, because Meteor Blade has something to say about this to me too, because he fucking doesn't seem to understand it. All right, so, and a lot of people don't, because they're just teaming up with people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. All right, so anyway, somebody wrote, Blizzard don't make a proper ban wave in non-season from ages. I don't even know what the hell this kid's saying. Seriously, the ladders are infested by cheaters and botters from several eras. Stop ignoring your clients and erase those scrubs from the leaderboard and ban them forever. We are tired of your laziness and complete lack of respect for non-seasonal players. This isn't just a non-season. This is an issue, period. Now, here is where the issue comes in. I says, players have been using bots since the birth of this game. The same exact way they are now, meaning they haven't changed. The bot programs may become more complex, but they've been basically using the bots to do the same things over and over and over again, so that hasn't changed. What the bots are doing may have changed, but the reasoning for using the bots has not. All right, so let me continue. And so basically, and there were hardly any complaints or mention of it. So what changed? So basically, back when the birth of this game, before the introduction of leaderboards, players were using bots the same way they are now. Okay, it's infested the game. The game is infested with them, period. So there was barely any mention or complaint about it. And so basically, what changed? And the problem isn't the players using bots. The real problem is the attention players using the bots are getting. The leader, and this kid's talking about the leaderboard, because that is the only way anybody would know that bots are even, you have nothing to compare it to. The leaderboard in itself is bringing attention to the bot, players using bots, because people have something to look at. It's base fact. So the real problem is the attention that the players using the bots are getting. The leaderboard itself is what happened. So I was like, so what changed? The leaderboard itself is what changed. Since players using bots cannot be stopped, this is something that the players in this game that put up these complaints fail to understand. You cannot stop the fucking bots, period. You're not going to stop them, never have. This has been ongoing for 6 years. If the problem hasn't been stopped by now, clearly it doesn't. What they're doing does not work. The ban waves don't work. If they did, then why are people still pissing and moaning about this? It proves it doesn't work. It's a proven thing. It doesn't work. So anyway, there's a reason why I emphasize that. So let me continue here. Since players using bots cannot be stopped, then the only thing left is remove the whole reasoning for a bot's existence in the public eye. The introduction of the leaderboard is the actual problem with this, because that's what this kid's complaint is. You know, the ladders are infested by cheaters. The fucking cheaters have been in the game. The ladders don't fucking make the cheaters. The cheaters are just using the ladders because it's an area they can bring attention to themselves in. So, let me continue. The introduction of the leaderboard is the real issue, or the real problem. It allows everyone to know about I meant to write the bot, by bringing attention to them. Before, players had nothing to compare anything to, so there was no problem. Now, that's not to say bots weren't causing problems in the game, but I'm just saying this kid's complaint was never a problem because there was nothing you could look up. So looking it up is causing the problem. Not the bot itself, and that's the issue here. So anyway, before, players had nothing to compare anything to, so there was no problem. So the removal of the leaderboard prevents anybody from mentioning unfair play or people's Paragon level and other such crap, because no one has anything to compare anything to anyone. Finally, leaderboards are not legitimate competition anyway. They're unbalanced, unfair, and luck plays a major factor in how a player gets through one. A character class itself has no basis on the Rift layout. The enemies in the Rift and what the elite enemy affixes are present. Sure, a character can get through a higher GR in a good time, but unless it's set up like a challenge rift, then it's totally obsolete and has no legitimate factor in the time and the GR level achieved does not matter. In other words, basically, I know it was a little confusing, but here's the deal. Leaderboards have unfair advantages on them. Players have advantages over other players, which automatically makes the leaderboard non-legitimate. Plus, you have the rift layouts and everything else. No two people get the same rift layout with the same enemies in it and the same affixes on the elites. So what happens here is somebody getting a good time does not mean they're a better player than somebody just because they got a better time. It means they got fucking lucky in getting through that rift that the other player didn't run into, because if everybody ran into that same rift, the leaderboard would be completely different. So let me continue here. I address that later on. All right. A character class itself has no basis on the rift layout, the enemies in the rift, and what elite enemy affixes are present. Sure, a character can get through a high GR in a good time, but unless the GR itself is set up like a challenge rift, then it's totally obsolete and has no legitimate factor, and the time and the GR level achieved does not matter. So what if someone got lucky? How does that make anyone have a higher standing than someone else who didn't get lucky? Luck does not make anyone good. Enter. I don't know what the fuck I was trying to say. Luck does not make anyone good. I think I meant to say either. And when players are allowed advantages other players are not lucky enough to get, then it's not legitimate because there's no actual competitiveness going on. It's all luck. So this kid, again, Meteor Blade, has something to say to me. And he says, I said, before players had nothing to compare anything to, so there was no problem. Number one, there is no problem. There is a problem, and people are unaware of it. These are not synonymous. Analogy time. Person A, and he starts talking about stuff that's completely unrelated. I basically wrote back. I cut out the last part of his reply because it's totally irrelevant and has no bearing on this. I love people that try to use stuff that's non-game related in real life to gaming as it has any bearing on anything. All right, so anyway, so I wrote this guy, I quoted what he said. I says, except the fact is, no one complained about players using bots until the leaderboard was brought into existence. The only problem is people using the leaderboard comparisons to complain about other players using bots. So yes, there was no problem until the leaderboard showed up. So I didn't say bots weren't creating problems in the game for people. I said there was no problem that people were complaining about it because they had nothing to compare it to. This shows you the intelligence level of people like Meteor Blade, who just doesn't fucking read anything and doesn't know how to have any comprehension. All right, so I'm gonna now here's the thing. This is what really cripples people's arguments that they can't get around, because I point something out in this that you can't even argue against. I'm going to point out that players that use bots do challenge rifts. So the player is still using a bot, and yet there isn't a single complaint about the players in bots times in challenge rifts. That is because of a simple fact: no one knows about a player using a bot because it has no attention being brought to it. It's because there is nothing to bring attention to. Challenge rifts are simply straight up, everybody is equal. Nobody has an unfair advantage. Paragon level doesn't matter. Gear power doesn't matter. The rift layout is exactly the same for everybody. That is legitimate competitiveness. Now, if a player may not be using a bot in the rift, but if that player has an account that's using bots on the account, the player itself is the issue. So players using bots still go through challenge rifts. The player is still using a bot, even though they're not using it in the challenge rift. And there's nobody complaining about that. That proves the issue isn't the players using the bots. The issue is the leaderboard, because the leaderboard allows people something to compare the bots to, because again, as I said, bots have been in this game since the birth of it. You will never remove them. Ban waves don't do anything, because if it did, we're going on 6 years now. So that's about the extent of it. All right, so let me continue. Uh, Again, allowing a way for attention to be brought to the player using the bots is the actual problem. Because if it was a problem, people would be pissing and moaning about it. Because it would be also, people would be complaining about the times inside the challenge rifts as well. Because that applies. You can't remove that from the equation. All right. So either remove the leaderboards or set up the leaderboards like a challenge rift, where no player is allowed to have an advantage over another, and actually make them legitimate and equal for everybody. Those are the only two options. So now he comes in and starts saying, actually, before the leaderboards, the problem was worse. This was because instead of grinding Paragon and thus getting more power during earlier times, people bought it for gold to be used in the auction house. The auction house, that's not even a valid argument now, because the auction house doesn't exist. We're talking about the leaderboards. This is people bitching about the bots being a problem. The only place bots are a fucking problem, or players using bots as a problem, is the leaderboard. That is the only thing anybody has to compare them to. So if you can't get on the leaderboard because of a bot, the problem isn't the bot, because they'd still be in the game regardless if the leaderboard was here or not. You're just now bitching about the bot because you have something to compare it to. So that's why I keep saying the friggin'... This is where I brought up the fact that everybody needs to cut the crap. Saying it's a problem means nothing. And this is what I brought up earlier in the very beginning of this video. Other than people saying the statement, bots are a problem, and pure jealousy, there isn't a single person that actually explains what the actual problems are. Like, other than the leaderboard. I said, so removing the leaderboard from the equation, what is or are the actual problems with a player using a bot? If a player uses a bot to get a Paragon level of over 4,000 in a season, or farms for Primal and gets them, so fucking what? The only issue with that is jealousy, because if the leaderboards weren't removed, that shit would still be going on. But you wouldn't know about it because you have nothing to look at. There's nothing, you can't say, oh, I can't get to this place because of him. You're pissing and moaning only for the fact that the attention is being brought to it through the leaderboard. So I said and this is a base fact in the game. This is again, we've removed the leaderboard from the equation. So removing the leaderboard from the equation, there is absolutely nothing a player using a bot does that directly impacts or affects another player. Everyone can still farm, get Paragon, do rifts, and play. I have yet to see any actual problems. The leaderboard is the only actual factor that directly impacts another player. Somebody goes, there's no problem until the leaderboard showed up. His Meteor Blade's being fucking stupid because he doesn't understand. No, the problem, I never said that the problem bots weren't causing problems. What I said was, the problem wasn't there for you to compare it to until the leaderboard allowed a comparison to create a problem. I'm totally ignoring it. All right, so now he's like, there's absolutely nothing a player uses a bot does that directly impact. He says, except being unable to take part in a fair competition, you mean? I says, and the only place that could exist is the leaderboard, except the leaderboard isn't fair the way it's currently set up. Fair competition means everyone involved running it is equal and no one has any advantages over anyone. Removing bots from the equation now. This is why this proves that the leaderboards are unequal. We'll completely remove bots from the equation. Now you run into primal items. Primal items allow for unfair competition. Add in rift layouts and enemies in the rift along with certain elite affixes, now you get pure luck. Primal allow boosting on Paragon levels at blazing fast speed. And it is not relevant that somebody on the leaderboard doesn't have primal items on the character you're looking at. Primal was still involved because the Paragon level can be boosted by another character that does have it. So until the leaderboards are set up where it prevents any player from having any advantage over another, and actually makes them equal, there is no such thing as fair play when it comes to the leaderboard in this game. So to make the leaderboard legitimate, a Paragon cap of 100 needs to be set. Do not allow primal items to be used at all to count times, and have the same exact rift layout with the same exact monsters and affixes need to be for everybody. Challenge rifts do this. Until something like that is done, the leaderboard is total garbage, and no player on it is legitimate because of luck and straight up unfair advantages, period. So here now he comes back and tries to say this. There are indeed only two options. Your way, ban the competition, which is correct, Or the right way, ban the people that have cheated at the competition. So I address this. It's funny how people keep saying things like fair and competition, yet neither currently exists, so people keep running in circles, ignoring what has to be done. So I ripped apart this, and this doesn't matter anyway. All right, so I took those to a party. He goes, yo, wait, ban the competition. Except it's not a competition. It's an unfair area that idiots use to argue and troll, and not a single person has the balls to actually do what has to be done to fix the problem. And 2, he basically said the right way, ban the people that cheat at the competition. I said, that doesn't even make any sense because it's been 5 years, and that has not ever worked a single time. So how exactly is that the right way? He's a fucking idiot for even saying that, because anybody who tries to say that's the right way clearly is a fucking troll and has no idea what they're talking about, because if it was the right way, why are people still complaining about it? It doesn't stop the bots. That's what I said. I said, all anybody wants to do is keep on doing. I says, all right. So I said, the only way to fix the problem is by removing all unfair advantages and elements of luck from the equation, period. It's the only way to do it. Now, here's the interesting thing. Nobody wants to do that. They just want to keep allowing this shit to happen so they can continue complaining. The issue here is stop allowing people to fucking have unfair advantages, and you fucking have a totally legitimate leaderboard, period. All right. I says all anybody wants to do is keep on doing things that have already been proven to not work and refuse to do what it takes to actually fix the problem. So anyway, this kid rips into Meteor Blade. He said, why can't we? So basically, Meteor Blade quoted what I said, and then this kid quoted what Meteor Blade said, and he says, because this kid's basically agreeing with me. He's saying, I said, all unfair advantages need to be removed in order for it to be in a competition. As long as unfair advantages are allowed in, it isn't fair competition. And obviously, nobody can be this fucking stupid to not understand that. He full well knows that even after all the stuff I've explained, either he's not reading or he's just purposely being a troll, because nobody can be this fucking stupid. And he goes, please stop making posts only to feed your greed and post count. He says, I'm making posts because I disagree with what he's making posts. He says he's making posts because he disagrees with me. Of course he disagrees with me. That's all he does on this forum. He follows me around to find anything I say to say the exact opposite of what I said, no matter how the argument is constructed or the actual facts being presented. He will always say the opposite. So anyway, Theros, he's basically capping what I said in simple terms. Theros says Diablo 3 is not an RNG game and don't have a fair ranking, period. You and many like you, and many like me, don't have the skills to play with the build Blizzard. Basically, this kid's saying Blizzard only wants the builds that they want up on the board. That's why you keep seeing them. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going. Why isn't the Olympic... this was my favorite. Again, he's trying to compare real-life competition to something that is a computer program that can be set so nobody has an advantage. In the Olympics, somebody's going to win a race because, yes, people are conditioned to run faster. That doesn't apply to a computer program. So what this fucking kid's even talking about is a mystery. So let me continue here because I addressed that shit. So what this kid fails to understand, and what he's saying here is, I'll let you read it, is he's like, there are stronger builds out there. But again, every single person is completely ignoring the fact that this means nothing, because this has to do with people getting primal. Okay, removing bots from the equation, it's not relevant how fucking strong the build is. It matters the gear power, because if you have specific gear power, the stronger builds out there was designed specifically so Blizzard could have these builds to work. That is why that's why the builds operate in the fashion that they do. For example, Corpse Lance. Corpse Lance is so Blizzard made Corpse Lance to be that powerful. Okay, that's what they did. They did it on purpose. It's built into the game's mechanics. Okay? So, obviously people are going to use it, but that isn't the fucking point. The point here is that whether it's a strong build or not doesn't change the fact that somebody that has Primal on the build and somebody that does not is going to have an unfair advantage. You need to be able to remove that unfair advantage in order to actually have a legitimate play. On top of that, people are talking about you can get a really good Rift and have a shitty build and have a better time than somebody who has a strong build and gets fucking shitty Rift layouts. That is the way the game works. That does not make a stronger build does not make a better thing because there's no comparison to that. There's nothing you can compare that to. All right, so now I'm going to continue going here. He goes, so I quote what Meteor Blade says. So why hasn't the Olympic 100-meter final ever been won by somebody running backwards? Because the competition doesn't run the race backwards. That doesn't even fucking make any sense. He's like, well, if they ran it backwards, somebody would fucking win it. I says, he goes, I guess it's because the best sprinters choose the most effective methods. This doesn't even fucking have anything to do with this. You're talking about a computer program that can force everybody on equal ground. Period. You remove the ability for anybody to use Primal, nobody has an advantage over anybody. Because the game doesn't... I basically brought Primal into this, and this is pretty much what this comes out. I said, this will put things into perspective. When it comes to the leaderboard times and GR level, what all players can get, meaning has the capability to get, does not matter. The only aspect that matters is what a player actually has. So putting bots aside, let's focus on Primal. Your comparison would only be inaccurate if everyone in the entire game was given Primal items to use for leaderboard placement. Since not everybody gets Primal items because it's all luck, that alone instantly makes the leaderboard total garbage and unfair. Failure to understand that simple concept means you're a troll and purposely just disagreeing for no other reason other than to disagree. And so I then proceeded to say, you cannot allow times and levels to be reached as legitimate times through items not all players get. Lucky players are the ones who get placement because they have the items to do so. As I said already, just because a character you are currently looking at on the leaderboard doesn't have a single Primal item on it, does not mean Primal items was not used by another character on that player's account to boost the Paragon level of the one you're looking at. So in the end, Primal items were still involved. So until Primal items are removed from the equation completely, or everyone is given Primal items to allow them to compete, then the leaderboard isn't fair, competitive, or legitimate. Now here's where this really gets fucked up. Don't let Primal items be involved in times and only allow a Paragon level of 200 and watch what happens to the leaderboard. It will 100% totally change with both what builds are on it in the top slots as well as the same players' name listings that use bots. Remove the unfair advantages and the entire leaderboard and everything on it will completely fucking change. Guarantee it. You have to have everybody have the same rift layouts and the same monster affixes, but allow them to use their own build without any unfair advantages. Now, at some point through playing, every single player will get ancient items. There's no other way around that. So, a player not everybody gets Primal, and there is a huge difference between a Primal and an Ancient, even though a Primal is an Ancient. But the problem here is that players that are getting... We're talking about usual Primals. I love people that fucking try to throw in, well, this Primals aren't always good, or a perfect, a good, godly rolled ain't... None of that shit fucking matters. We're talking about usable primals because they give a people an unfair advantage. Period. This whole bullshit of, well, it's not the right primal. Shut the fuck up. We're not talking about that. We're talking about primals that are usable by fucking people that are gonna primals give people an unfair advantage. Period. End of discussion on that, because you can sit and fucking debate that all you want, but it's a base fact. Put a primal on, you get an instant fucking stat boost. An instant stat boost allows you to jump GR levels, which increase your Paragon level immensely. It does it blazingly quick, where you could do it without the primal, but it takes fucking 5 times longer. So I'm going to actually reply to this kid. This kid's clearly not... So, see, this is one thing about my channel. Like, I always do research. Actually, oops, I gotta rewrite that. There we go. So he's just arguing to argue. I have to place this kid back on ignore. So this isn't even going to matter because this kid's just being fucking stupid. So anyway, here's one of these things where this kid's just looking for an argument or whatever it is. Overrides. And here's the interesting thing. So anyway, this is the interesting thing. He's been running. This person's been running around on the forum. I don't say running around, but he's been going around the forum saying I spread misinformation, and yet I've never even said one thing at all what I would tell people. So there's no fucking way he could possibly know what I'm telling people to say it's misinformation. I've never said what I'm telling anybody, but yet it's misinformation. I've actually ripped apart something he did in one of his topics, or not his topic, but or a topic he created. It was something that somebody asked for help on, and I went through and I totally ripped everything apart. And so basically what happened is I don't post help information on forums because of people like Meteor Blade. They want to attack everybody on the forum, and then when you say you don't post things because of how they act and their behavior doesn't warrant it, they then try to turn around, and again, as I said, Steam users will always have something to say. They can't be wrong. They're always on the go and everything else. So Meteor Blade is a Steam user. That's the literal mentality level of a Steam user. That is what Steam users do. They just do everything he's doing. They have no information. They tell you you're wrong. You don't have to tell them any information at all, but yet they know you're wrong. They know what games you have by looking at one account, totally ignoring the fact that you could have multiple accounts and never buy a game through certain platforms, and they use that other platform to judge your entire baseline off of. Oh, your account doesn't have that many good games on it. Your computer sucks. That's like saying your computer sucks because you use Gmail. It's like, it doesn't even make any sense. These people's arguments. This is literally a Steam user. So if anybody wonders what I mean when I say a Steam user, Meteor Blade's prime example, Steam user. So that being said, I'm gonna actually go back to playing Diablo 3 now, and I've been logged out, I'll bet you, but yeah, I've been logged out due to I've been network disconnect. The game connection has been lost due to inactivity. So let me go back and do that, and that's about it. And so I don't know, man. This is just so freaking idiotic. You know what I mean? It's so idiotic. Let me delete this, remove that. Yeah. Now let me open up the game capture here again. There we go. All right. All right, so here we go. Let me go back to playing here. So I need to, that's at rank 55, that's at rank 50. I need to get this to 55. Do I have enough gold? Yes. Actually, let me I'm going to go into my other character here. Should have actually went into this game with this character. Alright, so, see, I need to change the character, so there we go. Switch hero, Pig Blaster. That's its name, Pig Blaster. I'm going to use the interesting. Forgot I keep leveling during that, so alright. So that's that. I needed to buy some shoulders from her. Hopefully I can get a better shoulders on this. Alright, it's 2 pestilence shoulders. Alright, so I'm gonna buy all shoulders on this. I don't even care. That's that, that's that. So how many more pestilence shoulders can I get? Oh, I only got 2 that entire time, so let's see here. That's garbage. Oh, that's garbage too. Do I have enough? I don't even have enough stuff to do that. Alright, so let's try this now. Alright, need to go back and get my gems ranked up. Ugh. Change characters. Go back to Pig Beast. I'm going back to Pig Beast. Maybe this isn't a hardcore, so this is rough. I actually lost a hardcore character because the game lagged up, and that's another thing I actually wanted to discuss, which I'll be doing that in a different video. I've actually arrived at a conclusion that I've just arrived at a conclusion simply because there's too many. It's too coincidental. What I'm talking about is just way too coincidental for it to not be done on purpose. Is what it comes down to. So I'll discuss that afterwards. Multi-shot by 10, 656 vitality. That's not going to be good. Let's see if I change the vitality. Let's see what's. Let's see. See if I change the vitality on this. Do I have enough death breaths? Yeah, I do. Alright, so let's see if I change the vitality on this to critical hit damage. It's probably going to go below. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, it's below the marker on that. But if I can get critical hit damage on that, that would be different. I wonder how that would be. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work at all. You know, I'm not even going to waste my time with this. Alright, so let me salvage this. Actually, you know what? I can't salvage this shit. I've got to keep this in case this character dies, and then I'm going to use... Actually, you know what I should do is I should use my other character to do this. I should just really just use the other character for this. What slot did I put it in? 2? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm going to put another one in there. I'm going to put these 2 helmets in there. This is my backup stuff for this shit. Let's try that. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's see. This is, I'm going to get this. That's 55, that's 55, that's 50. Okay, I'm going to take a quick restroom break, and I will be back in 1 minute. So that's 50, 55, so that would be 60. Alright, I will be back in a few minutes. I just have to take a quick restroom break, and I will be back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Alright, so where was I? Oh yeah, I gotta get this to rank 55. So let's try this. Here we go. I hope if I aimed at them. Let's see. Oh, that's why I couldn't do it. Had my finger on the wrong button. I'm like, why aren't I vaulting? I have enough friggin'... I have enough discipline. Like, why can't I vault? There we go. There we go. That was interesting. Shield pylon. Take that. There we go. Whee! I think I'm gonna have to change the gem in my helmet from a diamond to a topaz. I keep running out of hatred like way too fast in this. I think if I put a topaz in it, it'll reduce how much I'm using. I know it'll reduce how much I'm using, but I'm wondering if it'll make a difference. Let's see. I have no idea if shit's coming down here or not. Interesting. I have no idea what the hell was on the other side of that, but whatever. What I find interesting and, well, kind of amusing is how the number of mortar enemies has increased immensely because of, people can say this isn't true all that they want, but it's a base fact. The number of mortar enemies, the mortar, was it mortar and, The number of mortar and illusionists have increased immensely because of the necromancer's corpse lance. Blizzard can't have any friggin' build work a specific way without putting roadblocks and rendering how the build works almost pointless, because the reason why this is an issue is because Frozen Lands doesn't stop anything from entering it from the outside perimeter of where Frozen Lands extends to. So Frozen Lands goes out, let's say Frozen Lands goes out like 40 yards and freezes everything inside of that within a 40-yard radius. Anything that's outside that 40-yard radius can shoot at you and do everything else, and it can literally kill you. And so, and when you move or you leap out of the way or whatever it is, because of those reasons, you lose time that you actually need to spend killing enemies. And the same applies to accursed enemies that explode into poison. If the level is filled with poison, just don't even do the level. Like, as soon as you see accursed on the level, when you're using a necromancer, just fucking leave the game and reset the GR, because there's no like, Frozen Lands does not operate correctly. It never has. And so if you put that on the forum, again, like I said earlier, you put it on the forum and you list shit that's wrong with a Greater Rift, that turns into, oh, you want the Greater Rift easy, instead of people friggin' paying attention to what the hell is being talked about. The Greater Rift is fucking broken. That's really all there is to it. It's broken. Because Frozen Land should be stopping, Frozen Land should be stopping every single thing that enters in it. So basically, Frozen Land should not, you shouldn't have to move when Frozen Lands is activated. The curse should not be exploding into poison, because they're supposed to be frozen. That means everything's supposed to remain stationary. This includes any incoming projectiles on the outskirts of the perimeter of Frozen Lands. So if Frozen Lands extends, let's say, for 40 yards, and an enemy is shooting you from outside that 40 yard, any projectiles the enemy shoot that go into there need to stop. In Frozen Lands, it's the area that Frozen Lands does. So Frozen Land should freeze anything. It should stop all activity. And anything that's caught in that should also cease to stop working. So for example, elites should never be able to cast their powers if they're frozen. It should literally, Frozen Land should shut down everything. This crap that it doesn't means it's broken. It's something that needs to be fixed. And so, the other thing too that, like I said, one of the things in the GRs that need to be fixed is that elites need to stop spamming their powers every 3 seconds. That's fucking inexcusable. Like, there's no reason for elites to be spammed. There's no reason that elite powers trigger every fucking 3 to 5 seconds. It's ridiculous. That's too much. Everyone's like, oh, you want that easy. No, that is fucking retarded to spam it that much. There's no reason for it. It's like Molten. Molten is a useless affix that has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't stop your progress. All you have to do is leap through it. The only times that Molten will kill you is if you either stand in it or you teleport to a player that happens to get out of the way of an explosion that's in the process of happening. That you can't do anything about. But other than that, it doesn't even make any sense. The way this whole system is set up is broken. But yet again, even though that's an issue, like for example, you say all elite activated powers that are already in the process of happening need to disappear once the elite that cast it is killed, because what's keeping it there? Instead, some of them are staying hanging around, some of them are instantly dying. Have them all end, because the person, it's connected to the enemy that cast it. So if you kill the enemy that cast it and it's already in the middle of being cast, or it's already cast, then it needs to cease to exist. Same thing with health link enemies. And any enemies that have health link are all connected together, which means they share one health bar, not 3 individuals. So if you kill, if there are 3 enemies that say health link, enemy A, B, and C, and you kill C, A and B should immediately die because they have 1 health bar. They don't have 3 health bars. They have 1. It's a health link. That means they all share the same exact health bar. At least that's the what it's supposed to mean. So one can't, as soon as one dies, the other 2 are instantly dead because they can't survive without, they have to be all together. So the fact that some of them are still hanging around means that's not correct. It's broken. Now, you take all these factors into account. I've posted this on the forum before, and somebody goes, so you want it, so just because you can't get it easy, you think that's broken. And those are people that are just fucking retarded, because nobody can look at that and say, okay, that doesn't make any sense, or they really should fix this. Like elite packs. An elite pack needs to stay together. That's what it is. So I bring up Bane of the Powerful for example in this. It says when you kill an elite pack, if 2 elites are up one side of the map and one followed you down the other side, you kill that elite, your Bane of the Powerful can't trigger. Oh, why is that even happening? They're in an elite pack. They're supposed to stay together. So it shouldn't be possible for one to be loose somewhere hiding behind a rock while the other 2 have followed you down the map. All 3 of them need to be there, so that way when you kill them, it triggers triggers like Bane of the Powerful, or it allows you to kill them all. This crap about one of them hiding behind something is asinine, hiding behind a rock or a wall that you didn't see is absolutely asinine. And it's broken because that shouldn't be going on. Another thing that shouldn't be going on is the arcane beams going through walls and doors. There's no fucking reason for that. Walls should be blocking everything. If you can't shoot them, there's no fucking reason that an arcane beam goes through a fucking wall, including an enemy that has a waller effects on it. I mean, there's just so many broken elements in this, and people are like, oh, so you want this hard. What the fuck does that have to do with being hard? It doesn't even make any fucking sense. Arcane beam should not be going through walls, period. That is nothing. I didn't say remove the arcane beam. I said stop it from going through the fucking walls. That's retarded. If a waller casts a wall and it has arcane beam, the wall should fucking stop the beam, period. It should rotate, but what I'm saying is it should block the beam. It's no different than arcane beams not being able to go through walls. Doors, doors and rifts shouldn't even be allowed because the fucking opening of the door can get you killed by enemies behind you if you're trying to go through it. What the fuck is a door doing in a rift anyway? Like, it doesn't, doors do not, you should not have to open a door in a rift at all. There's no reason for it. There's nothing. I can understand if it was a bounty or something like that where it says, go do this or find this door open. But to randomly go through a level that has doors for you to be opening, that makes no sense. That has nothing to do with being hard. That's just fucked up and retarded. There's no reason for that. Like, why are doors being opened? And same thing with breakable shit. There's no fucking reason that you're getting fucked over because you can't open a door. That has nothing to do with the friggin' rift. So for purposes of rift, all doors should be removed. Like, there shouldn't be any fucking, you should not be hampered by, doors. It shouldn't exist. There's no logical reasoning behind it. Oh, it's in the rift. That's not a fucking logical play reason when you're doing a rift to have a door there. It doesn't do anything. It makes no fucking sense. So I don't know. It's just, like I said, despite all those people like, oh, you just want it easy. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? It's nothing. Doesn't have anything to do with easy. That has to do with fucked up and retarded. That doesn't even make any sense. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna end this stream now, and I'll talk to people probably later tomorrow or something. But other than that, that's about it. This is TL Gamer signing off. Have a good night wherever.